Well, it's more Allerton this week, just outside of Leeds for the
Clipper Logistics Championship, potentially a breakthrough tournament for Craig Ross.
It's a good roll. It's in.
He can smell victory now.
Just desserts for Craig Ross. Great win.
No matter what, I am the winner. Don't pressure like this. Ain't for beginners. I'm tiger blood, and when I'm done, you will never be the same. I'm royalty. Oh, please beware that you step to me. I'm undefeated. I'm tiger blood, and when I'm done, remember my name. I'm royalty. Oh, please beware that you step to me. I'm undefeated. I'm tiger blood, and when I'm done, remember my name.
It's an intriguing leaderboard as we head into the final round here at Wychwood Park. Perched atop it is Jack South. 2 shots clear. He's not had a huge amount of success on this tour to date, but he's shown some glimpses of some really nice form so far this season. Just behind him, Dave Coupland, one of the most consistent players on the Europro Tour. He's notched up the top 10s, but can he do enough to get that elusive win today? And there are 3 players I'm really excited to see how they do today. Newly turned pro and with bags of potential. Jack Davidson, Marco Penge and Tom Anderson all had stellar junior and amateur careers. This is their first taste of contention on the Europro Tour, so we're all set for a thrilling final round here at Wychwood Park.
Kit, comprehensive as always. Thanks very much indeed. Yes, and I'm thrilled to be working with Gary Ellis today on what should be quite an exciting conclusion to this tournament.
I think you're right, Phil. I'm already looking forward to an exciting day. I think there could be much toing and froing for us.
And as if to prove our point, James Webber makes an eagle on the first. The easiest hole on the course is first up. Now look at these conditions. Baked hard.
Yes, conditions this year are really beginning now to be very difficult for golfers of all standards. As you can see, the fairways have almost gone white and they begin to go from hard and bouncy, and then they get a bit dusty. As we watch James Ruth there, that's a cracking shot into about 15 feet.
Now from Stowmarket Golf Club, Sam Forgan.
Similar line, looking down over that big bunker. And picked it off very nicely off this baked fairway. As we can see, chasing it down onto the green, similar distance away. Got it surrounded.
What a start by Webber on the second tee now. Downhill par 3, measuring just 149 yards.
Well, I think short par 3s are great fun, and they seem to have become rather less. It's a shame. You know, short little tight par 3 needing a wedge or an iron, great hole.
Now can Forgan do what Webber did? You better believe it.
Yeah.
Another eagle. This hole playing almost half a stroke under its par. Average score so far 4.59. It's a soothing opener.
Yeah, it's nice when you can get away to an under par start. Although another one there beautifully rolled in. Take those bit of grass with them all the way round, Phil.
Eagle, eagle. Now can Webber begin eagle birdie?
Oh, he certainly can. Absolutely never looked any, even though it hopped a little bit at the start, it just kept on running and running.
Now back on the fairway, Liam O'Neill will have seen those 2 eagles from the group in front. Can he emulate them? A very authoritative swing, one has to say.
Yeah, authoritative, a twirl of the club, which generally means that it's online and they like it. I think he was just a whisker unlucky there. He pitched in almost the same place as the other golf balls we've watched today, and that one stopped.
after a par on the second. This is Ruth to the third hole.
As you can see, just a little half swing, pushing the ball in, beautifully controlled into about 5 feet there. Now, as we can see, O'Neill opting for the little chip and run onto the edge of the green, got it down and running, and Bob's your uncle. There's your result.
A slew of eagles.
It certainly is. And can James Ruth make his birdie? He certainly can. Yeah, cool. They're going mad, Phil.
Well, Jack South must be wondering what's occurring. He had a reasonable cushion. Hasn't teed off yet. Suddenly, he's being pressurised.
James Webber under this little mound. Right, towering shot. Unerringly at the pin. Oh, that's a great shot. As we were saying, Phil, the courses have suffered a little bit, and they're all in similar condition. It's difficult to keep the green super smooth when it's as dry as this.
Dave Coupland on the first hole. If experience counts for anything, he could be a factor today.
It's looking a bit tight. Oh, can it? It's still going. You know, I think he may have just got a bit fortunate there. You can see wide stance, good balance, powering right through. If you just see very closely there at the bottom, just a little bit of a flick from the right hand that obviously just closed the club face maybe a degree or so. But I think he's okay.
Suddenly, very convincingly, Webber has a share of the lead. Together with this man, Jack South. Now, his favourite course has a Euro Pro Tour connection because it's TPC Deer Run, where John Morgan, our colleague, so nearly won on the PGA Tour a few years back.
Performance has been solid. Tee to green. When I've hit it well, it's been very well, but when I've hit it bad, it's been somewhat in play. And I've putted okay.
Par fives are absolutely key here. You've had 6 birdies and 2 bogeys on the 8 par 5 so far. Does that kind of tell a story a little bit about this golf course where there's opportunity but also danger?
Exactly, yeah. If you get it in position on the par 5s, you feel like you should be making birdie. But it's giving full attention to every single shot. There was the 12th hole the first day, and it's a nothing shot. It's a free iron off the tee for position. But I just hit a poor tee shot. No pressure or nothing. I just didn't give the shot the attention it deserved. And no matter how wide or how narrow a tee shot, it should get the same level of attention.
Starting with a 2-shot lead today, what's your strategy?
Just more of the same. Just enjoy myself more than anything. Keep things simple. Hit one shot at a time and total it up at the end.
Good attitude. Jack South attached to Hagley Golf Club, where they've got an absolutely tremendous practice facility, where he can hone his game to his heart's content.
And off he goes on his round with a booming tee shot, absolutely splitting the centre of the fairway and still racing down that slope. Settle any nerves that he's got and set him on his way. The thing to remember is he's earned the right by playing well to be in this position. And Phil, it's another example of how many of these younger players are so physically strong, flexible, and really boom into the ball.
Yes, case in point, Thomas Anderson, who was there or thereabouts at the Clipper Logistics Championship at Moorallerton last week, coming into his own. As that shot illustrates.
Yeah, he's been very impressive over these last month or so as Thomas. I've seen quite a bit of him, and it's been impressive as we return to Dave Coupland on the first. And as I thought, he's got a backswing, and the fact that you're going to clip a few leaves on the follow through doesn't make any difference at all if you can just get the club on the ball. But I just wonder whether that one's just turned a bit left and caught that longer rough short and left.
Richard Mansell. Another one chasing an eagle, and another one getting an eagle. Dare I say, Mansell into top gear straight away.
Another one of your wonderful puns, Phil. I love them. As we go back to where we saw Anderson after that lovely tee shot, and turns it into a lovely birdie. Moving in the right direction.
And accustomed to be in the lead of a tournament of this stature for Jack South. How will he cope? Well, from the evidence of the first two swings, so far so good.
Absolutely, yeah, it looks very cool and calm. As we return to Coupland, his shot did turn a bit smartly left, leaving him this wedge into the green, which he's executed very nicely and still has a chance of a birdie.
Coming off a par at the second, Mansell.
Very nicely followed by our cameraman. And although it looked long, it's gone very wispy in this droughty summer, so shouldn't be any trouble with that one. As we're back to South, that was a little bit unlucky there. He gave it a nice little firm wrist, and second, third bounce, it stopped dead.
From one West Midlander to another. Mansell plays out of Beaudesert Golf Club up there in Cannock Chase in Staffordshire. Beautiful location, beautiful shot.
Yeah, that was very nicely played. I must admit, Beaudesert is a lovely golf course if anybody gets a chance to have a knock ground there. Coupland, this for his birdie. Yeah, very good. I mean, that could have been a setback with everybody making eagles, or almost everybody making eagles. A par would have felt like he'd really dropped a shot there, so that's okay.
Now Mansell has this to lead on his own. As solid as you like. And it means poor old Jack South has to hole his putt back on the first to retain a share of the lead.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shocker. There you are, he's just playing the first hole and they're galloping past him. Now, come on, keep it inside. Oh, yeah, unlucky.
It's a par that feels like half a bogey, if there is such a thing. The overnight leader might have parred the first, but the lead is lost. In fact, he's not even alone in second. South tied second with Webber, and now setting the pace fast off the grid, it's Mansell. Good to see that Wychwood Park is again on the Europro Tour schedule and is investing heavily in the overall complex.
There is a lot going to happen in the next weeks, days, and in 8-12 months' time, the hotel will look quite different.
How important is it to have the full package and be able to offer the resort with the golf, as you say, with newly refurbished rooms coming up, with more facilities that are coming on as well?
In the industry and in the country, we've got to move with the times, and it's important to guests that we keep changing, we keep adapting to their needs.
And how important are events like the Europro Tour coming here for bringing attention to Wychwood Park?
It's massive for us. We've been planning. It's been in the planning since I got here. We've been talking about it. It was big last year. We wanted to make it big, and we wanted to make it part of our annual calendar going forward.
There's a bright future at Wychwood Park, and Richard Mansell's enjoying his moment in the sun at the AbleRate.com Championship. Welcome back to event number 9 on the 2018 HotelPlanner.com Europro Tour. Testing conditions here on this sun-drenched course, as going into the second half of the season, the battle to make an impression on the order of merit intensifies. Mark Young dominates, but it's the tussle for top 5 spots that really matters. These are the promotion places available to compete on the Challenge Tour next year. Now, as for the AbleRate.com Championship, I can tell you that James Webber has birdied the 6th to join Richard Mansell on top. We are seeing some fantastic golf here at Wychwood Park in Cheshire so far, and I'm sure it's going to continue. Overnight leader Jack South has done nothing wrong, 2 pars, and yet he trails.
So, 4th hole, our joint leader, who's found some fairly chewy green grass down there. Giving it a good contact though, running after it to see where it's gone. Good hit, maybe just a bit too good. Yeah, it's just gone over the back of the green there. Too good a contact. But plenty of green to work with.
And plenty of players making a forward move, so pars sting. Bogey sting even more. O'Neill retreats to 5 under.
Now, Jack South's first test. This par putt from 5.5 feet. No trouble at all. Well done. Now back to where we left Mansell, opting for a little chip and run, bump it up onto the edge of the green, let it run out, looking good, coming in. Unlucky, just a bit speedy. So he'll have that 4-footer in a few moments.
Anderson, he spent around a month in contention in Europro Tour events, from Camberwell Park to the Clipper Logistics last week, also at Longhurst Hall. Looks totally comfortable, and the swing, you can't fault it.
You're right, Phil, he's looked very good this last month. Now, he just needs to keep this one just inside the hole, don't go outside the hole. And he hasn't, and he's gone right to the bottom of the cup.
Anderson, a definite contender for promotion to the Challenge Tour next year. He's won lots, pretty much everywhere, including collegiately over in the States. He's representing the Centurion Club, the host of Golf Sixes.
Tom, you went to college over in America. What prompted you to make that move over the Atlantic?
It's got everything. I mean, the competition's high. You get to play a lot of tournaments during the winter season. You get fantastic training facilities and an opportunity to earn world ranking points where it's winter here as an amateur, which is massive. And then you get to come here and play the English season as a regular season. So I think you get an all-year golfing climate. You get to do a degree. So you've got both sides of the coin there.
You had a lot of success over there. How many times did you win in a college game?
I won 7 times. Won 7 times. Played like 45 tournaments or something. So yeah, I had a pretty good time over there. I felt like I just got in a good routine.
That incredible level of performance had you touted as one to really watch when you did leave the college and turn pro. What were your own expectations for the professional game?
Yeah, I obviously got into the England setup and the Walker Cup squad and stuff, and I felt like I was ready to compete at pro level. Yeah, I played a couple of Challenge Tour events, and I just missed final stage the first time I went by 2. So I was, I think, 28th at second stage or 9 under, and after that had no status really. So I was like, wow, you know, you go right down to the bottom from being at the top of the amateur game. You go right down to the bottom of the pro game, and I think it's quite tough mentally, actually, you know, because you don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And then you've got to build your way back up. I had a lot of momentum as an amateur, and I just feel like I kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Lost a bit of confidence, I guess.
Is there a sense of relief that A, you're starting to fulfil the potential that was very obviously there, and B, that work you are doing on the swing and the putting is paying off?
Yeah, I think it's not relief. It's just knowing what I can do and just showing what I can do, and I just want to climb up that order of merit. I'm not necessarily that worried about what other people are thinking. It's just I want to progress. You know, I wanted to start playing well, obviously, and I've worked really hard to start playing well. I'm just happy it's paying off, like you said. So yeah, I hope I can keep going. And I mean, this is just the first step. You know, this is the first step. Let's get real and let's go for the Challenge Tour and the European Tour. There's no messing about, I think.
Honesty, clarity, a potential star of the future who speaks as well as he plays.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. Articulate young man, and he's giving this one a run and running it right into the hole. That's brilliant. Well done, Thomas. Now the third shot on the 7th for Webber, just below the level of the green. A little bit of a fluffy lie. Oh, a bit heavy-handed. I think it's time to go across and listen to Kit, who's over on the 4th hole.
South's tee shot is down the left-hand side here on the 4th fairway, and it's opened up that pin position behind me beautifully. Just 118 yards and off a slight upslope. That's going to make the ball want to launch a little bit higher, and as the breeze really starts to freshen, he'll have to take that into account. It's coming off the right-hand side and helping slightly, and with that breeze, now just a few drops of rain coming in as well.
Rain? What's that?
I don't know. Golf course will need it. As Kit said, it's just a bit awkward off the upslope with the wind pushing at the right there. It's very easy to push the ball a bit too long. But he's controlled it beautifully, as you can see. Good shot.
Webber up on 7, looking for yet another gain. Oh, good roll, that one. On the high side, the pro side, just maybe slightly too much pace. Going towards the hole though, I think he fancied it going in.
Yeah, it looked very good, and I think he thought he'd done everything right there, but it didn't go in. So, South. Birdie putt now after that good approach. A little bit off the left. Oh, it didn't break. He read it there, I read it there. We were both darn wrong.
James Ruth from the China Fleet Club in Plymouth. Played this 7th hole well in the first 2 rounds, birdie and an eagle. After that, another birdie should be forthcoming.
Now Webber, joint leader. Again, coming from good position. And taking full advantage. They're really beginning to pepper the sticks, Phil.
They are indeed. Now Ruth. He shot a closing 65 recently when he was tied 7th at Studley Wood. A 65 today might do the trick.
Yeah, I think it might. As we go across to the par 3 6th and Mansell. Nice click off the club there, you could hear. Where's it going? Yeah, very tidy.
It was the case of the Nears on 7 for Webber. What about the 8th? That one bobbled. Not entirely his fault, if he's fault at all.
Now, Mansell, about 20 feet, slightly up the hill, breaks in from the right. You can just see just a few inches there, it just seemed to hop back to the right. Beautiful pace. Straightforward par, move on. Oh my goodness, that was hit with some venom, and if you hit it with venom and don't get it right in the middle, they can do that.
And Webber subsequently bogeyed the tough 9th as well, slipping back into a 5-way tie for 3rd, leaving Mansell leading alone, 1 to the good from South, who's arrived on the 5th, level for his day so far.
Here he is, one behind. Just in the light rough. Probably a nicer lie than being on some of the bare fairways. Yeah, just a slight misjudgment. So we see Thomas Anderson, now 2 behind. Second shot, sort of fire one under the tree, and as you can see, trying to draw it round. Has he overdone that? Looks like he has a little bit. think that has found the bunker, which is awkward.
Another up and down here would further settle the south nerves. But that ball will just trundle on, and we saw O'Neill miss his par putt from a virtually identical position. It fades away left to right, that putt. Hard to judge.
On the 7th, Davidson. Dusty old lie just near the bridge there where people walk over. But he's got a good contact. And chosen the right club. Controlled the distance very well. As you say, Phil, this ball just trundled on these shiny greens. He's just got to be careful, as you say, it doesn't slip away. I tried to give it enough and firm, and there was the result. Over the left lip. All in all, he's going to feel that's really a bit clumsy, because it wasn't a bad lie and then missed the green and firm chip and trouble.
And this length of bunker shot on any course in any conditions, a real tester. Not bad at all.
No, I think that was a good effort, because he had to get it up and over, fly it up onto that top level. That was a difficult shot. Now Dave Coupland, his putt for a par. A mere bagatelle, and it goes.
Dave, 1 under par through the first 5 holes. How do you feel it's going?
Yeah, very chilled out. There's a bit of wind about, which makes it different from the first 2 days, but striking it nicely, so keep going, really.
Yeah, that wind has really kicked up since you teed off today. How much more difficult does it make this course?
I think it definitely makes it harder, but in some ways it makes decision making easier. So yeah, there is a definite direction and definite sort of speed to the wind, so yeah, it's okay.
And as a qualified greenkeeper, I'm sure that Dave Coupland can empathise with the guys here and the difficulties they've had.
Yes, it gives another insight to a player when you've got some groundsman skills like that, and that's a good shot. And again, pulling back a chance.
Jack Davidson. Absolutely tremendous amateur career. Played in the Walker Cup last year at Los Angeles Country Club. Now taking his first tentative steps as a pro and doing pretty well. The pride of Clanwern Golf Club, not too far from Celtic Manor actually.
No, it isn't. I know that neck of the woods fairly well, and as you say, very, very good player. As we watch O'Neill try to sink this birdie putt, and come on, yes, very nice, very nice.
1 hole back, also targeting a birdie. Anderson.
Running well and running right in again. Oh, it was good. I think he thought for a second it might just sneak past on the right, but Hole grabbed it.
At 353 yards, if you find the 10th fairway, which Webber has, you're zeroing in on a birdie. Oh, but he was hurt by a spin, Gary.
He was unlucky there. He got such a good contact, it's still going. Poor, yeah. But sometimes you can't just legislate for that, so there's nothing you can do. You just have to take what comes. Now, this tree's featured a couple of times. Now it's in Mansell's way. But using the dry ground, he's cracked one pretty much all the way along the ground, and it's worked well up to the front of the green.
Well, that was creative, wasn't it? Under the bows, just about skirting the hazard. Couldn't have kept it any lower than that.
No, I think it probably was a little bit lower than he actually intended there. He really dug down, but say nothing until you see. card doesn't paint any pictures. Anderson firing in there. Little wide, but again good distance control.
An adventurous second, but a chip and putt for a birdie nevertheless. Mansell turned pro in 2017 after spending 3 years at Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, where at Fort Lauderdale Country Club he once shot a 58.
Wow. 58, I thought the 59 club was difficult to join. 58 club. Davidson. And another cracking shot into about 4 feet there.
Yes, and going back to Mansell, he also competed for Europe in last year's Arnold Palmer Cup, the university's match against the USA. Oh, lovely stuff. He's another man with lots of potential.
He certainly is. You mentioned the Arnold Palmer. It's a nice competition, that, to be selected to play in. So, Anderson. Yes. Unerring. In it goes.
And all the more important after those bogeys on 8 and 9 for Webber to slot this one away. A big putt psychologically.
Yeah, if you get in a run and you end up dropping 3 in a row, it's can be very draining to the mind. So Davidson, after that very good approach, this for his birdie. Another one under.
At the AbleRate.com Championship, numerous golfers are still rating their chances. A mere 3 shots cover the top 7, but there's no doubting the man to catch. That's Mansell in overdrive, 4 under through 7, and now 2 clear. The action continues at Wychwood Park after the break. Wychwood Park, a course like so many, battling the elements, which are providing quite a challenge for players and green staff alike.
Course is looking great, a little bit baked, as everywhere is at the moment. A very different challenge to the wetter conditions we faced last year. How's it playing out there?
Yeah, it's playing fast and firm, so which means for definite there's tighter lines off the tees. You've got to make sure you keep it in play and keep it in position.
Just how impressed have you been by the scoring in what is incredibly difficult conditions out there?
It's incredible. It's the control of their ball flight, I think, that kind of separates the good players from the guys who probably aren't scoring so well. So the guys who are in control of their golf ball are the guys who are probably going to have a great score this week.
Despite the obvious difficulties in the AbleRate.com Championship, scoring is impressive, with Richard Mansell 2 clear as the chief contenders fast approach the turn. As for overnight leader Jack South, he's the only player on the leaderboard over par.
Yes, Phil, he hasn't really done anything wrong, but the others have just been playing so well. But a bit of trouble here. 4th shot out of the deep bunker. Again, such a difficult shot when you've got distance to go, a high lip to get over, and it's hard to get height and distance from those sands.
Treacherous hole, the 9th. We've seen 10 sevens or more this week. Average score 4.42. Not too bad, but again, a very fierce bounce.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to miss that. A bogey is bad enough when everybody's charging past you, but still time for him to recover.
4 top 20s recorded by Mansell so far on the tour this year. He's best. Tied 14th at Clevedon. I'll tell you what, from what we're seeing today so far, Gary, that is going to be blown out of the water.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's going along very, very well. 7th hole, Coupland. This just under 3 feet for his birdie. Another one goes in.
Little downslope, green above you, not too appetising.
Now that's a difficult situation, and he's dealt with it admirably. Lovely shot.
Richard Mansell, 23 years of age, turned pro last year. He's playing some superb golf, and he's been chatting with Kit.
I was lucky enough to play in the Palmer Cup, which was best golfing experience of my life, and then stayed amateur for a few tournaments and decided, once I kind of missed the cut of the British Am, I wasn't going to wait around another couple of years for the Walker Cup, so just get on with it, and went to Q school in Italy, and unfortunately missed by 1, but I think that was quite important for me to miss by 1 and kind of take this year and get a full season on the Europro, so that's what I was looking forward to do.
When you were over in college, you
Yeah.
shot a 58, an incredible score. Can
Yeah.
you talk us through that?
Well, at the time, I didn't know I'd shot it. I thought I'd shot 60, and I just had no idea what was going on. I was playing in a Pro-Am, and I was playing with 2 really high-up business people, and then a local pro as well. And yeah, just I don't know what it was, but my game plan that day was just, right, let's hit driver everywhere, and I hit driver everywhere where you wouldn't normally, and just had it on a string, and then seemed to make every single putt I looked at, and I actually made a bogey as well on a par 3, which still to this day I can't really remember how it happened. I just remember holding the putt on the last, thinking I'd shot 60, and then we totaled it up about 15 minutes later because I was still like, it was the lowest score I'd shot, and yeah, it was 58 and it was 14 under, and yeah, it was like, how's that happen? Then all of a sudden I think in the next 3 days I did like 40 interviews or something, like over the phone from America, because I think National Club Golf or the magazine or whatever it was wanted to do some stuff, and then it was just, it all happened really quickly basically, so, but no, it was definitely a good experience.
Just think about those numbers, 58, unbelievable.
It is, and you know, full length score, 14 under par, but equally it just shows the demands from the media. There is so much media, if you like, these days on the players. His world was overwhelmed in the next few days.
And another birdie there. Significant move from Mansell, a discernible gap at the top. He now leads by 3 from a trio of closest pursuers, Davidson, Anderson and Coupland, looking to match the leader's birdie on the 8th.
Again, Coupland after lovely tee shot. Middle iron. Looking very good. Yeah, again, I've been very impressed today, Phil, with how well the players have judged their club selections.
Yes, I'm afraid though for Webber it's all gone pear-shaped. Bogeys on 8 and 9 and a triple bogey at 12. End of challenge. But what about the leader over on that super tricky 9th?
Mansell has got the confidence flowing and the ball on a bit of string, and he's in the fairway again here at 9, exactly 150 yards into that pin. It's tucked right at the back there on that top tier. A tricky location, but you can bet your bottom dollar he's going straight at this one.
Hitstolder's all about it. 9 iron. Dead aim. Giving it a great clip through there. Yeah, as you can see, it just thumped into the top of that tier, and he's got a tricky putt.
Coupland's first win on the Europro Tour was back in 2013. He knows what's required. We've talked a lot today about players having great amateur careers and then transitioning into professionals. He won the Lagonda Trophy and the Tillman Trophy as an amateur.
Very wonderful old trophies with great history they are, Phil. The Lagonda and the Tillman. Yeah, that's good after the slight misjudgment and spinning back to the lower tier.
The 11th, much like the second, a little downhill and something of a titch. The shortest hole on the course, 135 yards.
Yes, a hole of this length, when you're looking down on it, you really feel you ought to be able to knock it right in the hole, and that's obviously what he was thinking, and that's virtually what he did.
Mansell's made only one bogey on the front nine all week. Here yesterday. But the mistake isn't repeated.
Looking very sprightly. Davidson. This little one. Yes. Good man.
A par on the 9th is always a source of relief, but Mansell's lead has been cut nevertheless. Now up to second on his own, a Welshman with an outstanding amateur pedigree, Jack Davidson, who will prevail in Cheshire and at the AbleRate.com Championship. The story continues after these. Welcome back everyone to almost tropical Wychwood Park. The sun is beating down and basking in the glow is Richard Mansell, who's leading the AbleRate.com Championship by 2 from Jack Davidson, with Thomas Anderson and Dave Coupland tied third. That as Mansell turns for home and takes on a par 4 that John Morgan's going to dissect in detail.
Well, here we are, the back nine, start of the back nine, the 10th. I mean, 389 yards, par 4. You got trouble left, trouble right, tree in the middle of the fairway. I tell you, you've got beautiful raised green in the distance, big garden bunkers as well. You can't really see the fairway from here. All you can see is long grass in front of you. But I know that tree is around the 308, as you can see on here. But it says 294. Just past it is that little marker there. So if you carry that, you got to think, well, in the region of about 320, 340 yards just to carry that tree. So instead of go over it, I reckon it's time to go under it, don't you? So I'm going for Tiger Stinger underneath it. And I tell you what, if I chase it, pitch it around the 280 mark, it'll skirt past it. And I tell you what, I will only have a flick into the screen. Now come on, I'm going to aim straight at the stump. I'll be pretty unlucky if I hit it. So let's trap this baby and get it just taking the tops off this grass in front of me. Oh, lurking low, going under the tree. Yes, he's going to be in ideal position. I tell you what, just that little wedge in now from his second, bring on the birdie.
It's a lot of good shots still, does our Mr. Morgan. And on the 10th hole, here is Mansell. Yeah, another lovely shot. He's controlled his golf ball handsomely today. See, very steady, 3/4 swing. Still accelerates the club through the ball. Good result.
Now it's the closing round of a Euro Pro Tour event. So guess what? Joe Dean must be figuring. The most consistent player on the tour, bar none. Five top tens already this season recorded by Dean.
Yes, if there's a medal for the most consistent so far, it must be between him and Anderson, I would think, Phil.
Couldn't agree more. Now this is a nervy one. Well, a crow let out a big noise just as he putted that, but it didn't take him off.
No, it didn't put him off at all, even with the crow laughing.
We saw Dean's third into the 14th, treble off the tee, so a very lengthy effort for par. Oh, that feels as good as any birdie anyone's ever made.
Yeah, I thought might have been a bit more excitement, but a very laconic Mr. Dean ambling across the green there. As we see Coupland. E2 firing one in. Hold on, don't go back. Oh, it just hasn't quite claimed that tier. That's one of the things here at Wychwood. There's a number of umps and bumps in the greens, and it's very easy to be on the green, but you've then got quite a step to put the ball up and over.
This 12th hole has provided a mixed bag for Davidson so far this week. A bogey 6 on day 1, an eagle yesterday.
Mansell has left himself below the hole for birdie here, which is excellent. It means he can really be aggressive, and he'll need to be up that hill. That also means it's probably not going to turn as much as you might think. I've got this one about half a cup from left to right.
Kit's a pretty good green reader, so let's see if he's read this one properly, and can Mansell hit it on that line. Looking good. But, as you can see, he borrowed too much.
From down below up the ridge on the 10th, flag tended by his caddy and his father. Ooh, I think the word used these days is steamy.
It was definitely that. Now, just looks like Davidson's got a little bit lucky here. Yeah, stayed out of that long grass. And a beautiful chip. Just tap that one in from a couple of inches. Get out of the way, save a bit of time. Good boy.
Former Welsh amateur champion. He won the final 8 and 7.
Don't really want to be on the receiving end of that in the records, do you?
This is Liam O'Neill to the 12th.
Now, is that, somebody might say, rather a plucky effort from Mr. Coupland. He's now got this to negotiate going back. And as you can see, it just hopped straight off the putter, just didn't get a great contact. Jumped left, missed.
Now this looks a lot worse than it actually is. Ruth on 14. How he would love a big finish. We've seen a putt hole from over there by Dean. Will lightning strike twice? And talking of Dean, here he is on 15.
He is a very good long-range putter. He judges the pace very well. I'm glad he didn't do me a disservice there. Well done, Joe. Another cracking putt. Still doesn't improve his humour much, though.
Now looks a bit glum, doesn't he? Here's Coupland on 11, down the hill. We saw a cracking tee shot here from Davidson. Not quite so accurate from Coupland, who will have his work cut out to save par.
O'Neill, his third shot, just off the green here. Yeah, as you can see, a bit of a misjudgment of pace, making it life difficult for himself.
Ruth, who came close to winning in Montrose, tied second earlier this year. Another top 5 at Camberwell.
O'Neill to save his par, again just inside the right lip. Oh. If anything, it just moved a little bit to the right rather than back to the left, but never quite on the right line, and it's a shot gone.
Yes, at this stage, bogey's really hurt. Something that Ruth is trying to avoid on 14. Oh, trying and failing. Costly.
Yeah, as you get towards the business end, the putts that were rattling in a couple of hours ago are more difficult to negotiate now, as we see Coupland opting for his putter and opting very well. That's a great choice and a great putt. Always got to have a little bit of luck, and nice to see that he recognises that Lady Luck was riding with him on that putt.
Coupland's now third. Will Whiteoak, what a smashing name that is, still leads in the clubhouse after a 67. Jack Davidson is cranking up the pressure, but the leader remains Richard Mansell. Kit, how's he looking on the 12th?
Surprised to see Mansell play this par 5 as a 3-shotter after he took such an aggressive tee shot off of the 10th. But he has, and he's now got 95 yards in for his 3rd shot. It's slightly into the breeze, and that whole green slopes from back to front. He'll probably need to carry this past the pin and spin it back. Anything landing pin high or short of it is well in danger of spinning right back off the front.
And Gary, you know far better than me, but off these very hard lies, the generation of spin is maximised.
Yes, you're certainly going to be able to pinch the ball, and as you say, Phil, get a maximum amount of spin from the loft on the club. And he's done exactly what Kit suggested, and done it extremely well. That's good. You can see here again, it's another one of those lovely 3/4 swings. The fairways are just still tight enough. If this drought goes on much longer, they'll begin to break up, and then getting a good contact is so difficult.
This is Billy Spooner with a victory under his belt already this year at Harleyford. Oh, a bigger bounce there would have been manna from heaven.
Yeah, surprised it stopped where it stopped there. As we look at Davidson. Neat swing, throwing the ball up into the air, looking just a little left, as you can see.
Marco Penge is 20 years of age. He represents golf at Goodwood. He's a big Arsenal fan, and this week he's been gunning for a personal best finish on the Europro Tour.
Marco, you're a new face on the Europro Tour this season, but you've got an incredible history, a great amateur and junior record. Can you just tell us how you first got into golf?
Well, when I got to the age of 12, I played football for Southampton, and obviously playing golf at a not a bad level. And then that's when my dad said it's either golf or football. And I played in America in a few, US kids stuff. And that's when I just decided to play golf, really.
You played literally all over the world as an amateur, South America, North America, Europe, Asia. What did you learn from those experiences?
Just, when you stay in England playing golf, you think that you're at the top of that kind of golfing era. Until you go over abroad to America and Australia, you kind of realise how many good players there are. And obviously playing different courses, different conditions, different weather, all that stuff is really a lot of experience to take, and it's obviously great for the future.
But what about the past? Well, he reached scratch at 13, did Penge. He was selected for England under-18s at the age of 14. One of the reasons why he can golf his ball.
Yeah, it's a wonderful Americanism, that, isn't it? But yes, a tremendous amount of junior experience. As we watch Billy Spooner try this long-range birdie putt. Down into the hollow, up the other side. Bit of a swing from right to left. It's coming, it's coming. It's right in there. Great putt. Little bonus when you get those ones in.
Big smile from the live promotion candidate.
Mansell. This little one for his birdie to brush in or not. He's held some great putts, but missing one like that could be, let's hope it won't be, but could be costly. So here we are, let's have a look at this, the 411 yard 13th. Tricky hole with the water crossing the fairway, you can see we're coming up to. So the players have to be careful off the tee with their club selection to avoid bouncing into the water and the bunker that we've gone past. Then the fairway is liberally sprinkled with bunkers, but shouldn't really affect these players. Interesting shaped green, lots of little runs and things, so choosing the right club to the green is important, because if you miss, it's not an easy chip shot.
And from the houses on top of the hill, you get a lovely view of this hole. And that's a lovely swing. I really like the tempo. Thomas Anderson in full control, technically.
See Joe Dean, his head peeping over the rushes there. But I think his ball was lying okay. Not lying so okay now, though.
I think it's going to be a hack and a hope from there, if it's as bad as it looks.
Yes, he may just be lucky to be in front of that really tall stuff. Time will tell.
Now, a moment or so ago, I was extolling the virtues of Anderson's swing, but that was his third shot. That was his fourth. So at best, it's going to be a bogey.
Yes, he's avoided the really deep stuff, but this looks very chewy that he's in. And you could almost see it, the club grabbing at the ball. And I'm afraid if you hit it in a grass like that, it is a bit of hit and hope. And the hope is that you can get a miracle with your putt.
Davidson for par. Lovely. The man who won the Copa del Rey, the Spanish Amateur Championship, joining the likes of Darren Clark, Alathabal, Garcia and Danny Willett.
Nice to have your name along with those luminaries. Cool. That was, Mansell was obviously in some trouble there. He only seemed to be able to make about a foot-long backswing to try and chop that out, but the ball did appear.
We've seen a handful of these missed today. No problem for Anderson. Nevertheless, it is a bogey, and he falls back to -6.
So we return to Mansell, where we just saw him chop it out of those reeds. Now, can he pop this one close to limit the damage? He certainly can't. That's in a lot of bother.
Could be all change at the top, increasing the importance of this one going in. He made a tremendous save for par on 14. How about here at 16? You better believe it. Joe Dean remaining 6 under, not too far off the lead. At least not too far off in around 5 minutes' time.
Mansell from rushes to fairway, from fairway to wispy long stuff. And a bit over bowled with that one.
In the final group, playing with Jack South, Coupland for birdie on 12. Little tentative down the hill.
Well, we're getting closer to the green, using his putter. But not easy, this. Now, 2 shots are going to go, I'm afraid.
Coupland's unaware of the problems up ahead. Past 12, walks off a little disconsolately, but now he trails by only 2.
Mansell just needs to be careful with this one. But, that's in. But yeah, double bogey. He'll be glad to turn his back on this hole.
And the intriguing consequence of that is this. In the closing round of the AbleRate.com Championship, we've now had 4 different leaders. South, Mansell, Webber, and now Jack Davidson. 1 clear, 5 holes to play. Who will win at Wychwood? Find out in just a moment. You know, translating fine amateur deeds into professional pounds, euro and dollars is never a given. Sometimes the move into the paid ranks can be trying, but rookie pro Jack Davidson seems very much at home. He's leading by 1 from Mansell, with Coupland only 2 adrift. Also in his element, down on the penultimate hole, here's John.
Well, personally, this is my favourite hole on the golf course. It's the 17th. It's an amazing par 3. Bit of a L-shaped kind of green and a feel to it anyway, because obviously you've got this big lake short of the green as well, which goes up the left-hand side, and this green kind of goes with that lake as well. If you slightly just overdo it on the left-hand side, there's water, trees, you name it, it's down there. That's lost ball territory. You could rack up a massive number. Absolute picturesque hole as well, fraught with danger. And I tell you what, the best thing is to do, you can see the flag, but pick one of the windows that you can see in the house. Just keep your eye on one of the windows. Think, I'm going to put it through that, and don't take your eye off it, because it's one of those holes you seriously have to commit. Now, I'm running in the iron thinking, right, what do I do? You know, got water short, I don't want to be there, so I'm thinking I'll go 1 club more. I'm going to hit the 5 iron and take it easy, take the water out of play. And I tell you what, if you get away with it, if you par this all 3 days, players par this all 3 days, they're definitely 2 up on the field, maybe even 3. That's how hard this cookie can play. Now, bailout zone is down the right hand side, but there is bunkers lurking. But anyway, let's give it a go. And I tell you what, that is flushed, absolutely flushed. And I tell you what, that's just running through to the back of the green. You'll have to do, I tell you what, long is better than short.
Hoping to follow Mr. Morgan's example, Joe Dean.
A lovely swing. Is it a lovely result? Oh, it most certainly is. Oh, it was a cracker.
The 14th hole at 341 yards is the shortest par 4 on the back 9, but bogeys far outnumbering birdies. And the name of Davidson could be added to the bogey list. He's there in 3.
Yep, looking right down. See the flag there past his left shoulder. Again, very bare fairways. The key is to keep still. Don't try and force the distance. Get a good contact on the ball. As we have a look here at O'Neill, second shot. It's down to the semi off a slight downslope. Yeah, good shot. Heart of the green, putting up the hill.
Joe Dean, 4th in the order of merit at the moment. As I said before, without a win. Holding puts for fun on the back 9. Just racking up those pounds.
So Davidson is for a bogey, is in, but say it's a dangerous hole, but the shortest hole he would hope to come off with a better score than that as we take a look at the 14th. As Phil said, just 341 yards, but the key here is to get the right club off the tee, because we've got to stay away from the water. You've got to get it on the short grass to allow yourself to play to a fairly flat green, but it's really negotiating the water, not being too conservative to the right and finding these bunkers. A tricky hole.
Gary, it certainly is for Mansell. Right off the tee, hard up the face of the bunker. Can only just advance this a minimal distance. On the card it looks innocuous. it is anything but.
Yeah, all he could do here was just sort of treat it as though it was a greenside bunker, splash it back into play. And very often, you know, I think holes like this are great fun, where they really throw up a challenge rather than just the big bombers. As we have a look at O'Neill's birdie putt on the 16th. Medium length up the hill. Not too much break on it. No break at all. Boom, straight in.
Well, that really is bucking a trend, because the 16th has produced fewer birdies than any hole throughout the tournament.
Wow. So Mansell now trying to retrieve some of the damage, and that's a fine effort.
As for the toughest hole on the course by average score, it is the 15th. 4.5 it's playing, and Thomas Anderson's playing 4 from sand. We've seen 41 double bogeys here already this week. Number 42 could be in the offing.
Mansell, this 8-footer to save his par. Not to be.
Just a crushing blow. As a double would be for Anderson on 15. A double it is. Back to 4 under.
The middle of this back nine is really catching them out. As I think we could tell that Mr. Anderson was a little annoyed.
Yes, we're in Cheshire. I think they heard that in Lancashire.
Billy Spooner, his little chip up. It's running out of steam. And we're back to Dave Coupland, who's just been sort of tiptoeing along quietly all day. Middle of the fairway again. He's going nicely, Phil.
He is, and ever present on the Europro Tour schedule this year. 9 tournaments played, 9 cuts made.
17th tee. And a good looking tee shot from James Ruth. Yeah, very nice at this difficult hole.
Spooner for 6 under. More significant order of merit points added to the total.
Nice round, 68, good score. Very good back nine, as you can see. And as you say, Phil, more points, more pounds.
Now can Mansell steady the ship, which is keeling over a little. Oh yes, much better, much better. In the air, he might have expected an even better result than that.
James Ruth, this 18-footer, 18 feet and in.
We have just seen a vintage Open Championship at Carnoustie. Back in 2007, when the County of Angus last hosted the Open, Dave Coupland qualified as an amateur.
Fantastic experience, and I got it in the hardest conditions, I think. So yeah, I really got the Carnoustie vibe.
You qualified for the Open again a couple of years ago, obviously this time as a pro, much more experience. Was it a different time for you then?
Yeah, I think the first day was like this, a bit of breeze about, and I played really well. The next day, the weather seemed to turn, and the draw luck of the draw went against me. But yeah, again, fantastic experience, and I felt like I could hold my own, and only just missed the cut by a couple. So yeah, I wasn't too disheartened.
Did you get any practice rounds in with any of the elite guys?
I played with Zach Johnson, who was defending champion at the time. So yeah, he was a real good guy, gave me a few pointers, and it was just really nice to watch.
How much of a confidence boost was it to go into an environment like that, the elite rarefied air of a major championship, and compete and come so close to making the cut as well?
Yeah, it does wonders for your confidence. I mean, you're absolutely buzzing just getting there. I know how the guys are feeling. Yeah, it's such an exciting time, but I think what I've learnt from it is a lot of guys burn themselves out before the actual tournament.
Today though, Gary, Coupland is pacing himself really nicely.
He certainly is. He's been cool and calm and composed as he goes for his birdie here on the 14th and gets it. Now that's, again, he's just keeping going, moving in the right direction. Very good. Be interesting to see how these last few holes pan out. Now Mansell, who could do with a birdie putt. He's had a couple of setbacks. Now, what was all dropping earlier on has suddenly become a bit of a chore for him, but still much to play for. So.
Yes, after that majestic front nine, Mansell is treading water, metaphorically, given the dryness of this course. Europro Tour leaderboard regulars Dean and Coupland are right there. So too, after a par on the 15th, is Davidson. But is he down amongst the dead men on 16? Did he try too much? He did. That is swimming. Found the hazard. Ouch.
So Joe Dean, this for his eagle, running well. Oh, gosh, he's got almost everything, and I think that one was just as close. No wonder his hands are on his knees. He can't believe it didn't go in.
The way things are going, that could have been for victory. Davidson, damage limitation mode on 16. This is fourth, remember, to the par 4. Just about holding the putting surface.
So this for 8 under for Joe Dean. This little one brushes it in. And again, a very, very nice looking scorecard. 66. 5 birdies on the back 9. Lots of good putts hold.
He's had 15 top 10s on the Europro Tour since the start of 2016, Joe Dean. Is this going to be the breakthrough? Unfinished business on the course, mind you. O'Neill on 17. Oh, and that's position Z.
Davidson, this long effort just to drop only 1 shot. Sadly, it's going to be 2.
Untimely.
Well, we're at the 15th, regarded as the toughest hole on the golf course, and for reasons being, there's trouble down the left, there's trouble down the right. I mean, what you see is what you get on this golf hole. Soft dog leg from left to right. You got this big, beautiful bunker lurking down the left-hand side, which I reckon is going to gather everyone's ball, because the one place you don't want to be is down the right-hand side. They're red stakes. If you don't quite carry it, you've got to go back absolutely country mile all the way back there, and that's where you've got to drop your ball and you've got to start all over again. You've got trees beyond our cameraman right there, so if you start flirting with this bunker and you slightly miss it, you're in a bit of a bushy grave back there. This bunker is definitely the catchment area. Now, if you feel like you can bite off more than you can chew, you know, you get the driver out and you want to take it on, you can pitch it around here. It's going to be about 280, 290 yards to pitch it just about 10, 15 yards further up from here. But look how narrow it is. Look at this lie of the land, the camber of the fairway just slopes towards the water. You don't want to be doing that. You just want to be hitting a nice long iron, play sensible. It's not going to be easy anyway. It's a very committing hole. You've got to hit your shot, bang on the button, and you want to come up just shy of this bunker, and that's going to leave you no more than a 6 iron or a 5 iron left for your second. I mean, this is a tough cookie, and I tell you what, the boys could come seriously unstuck on here and rack up a big number, and that's your 10 grand down the Swanee. Don't want to be doing that.
This fairway is absolutely baked.
It is, which, as John was telling, makes us even more difficult because you just have to sort of hit and hope for the bounce. But Coupland's found a good spot there, although a bit of arm waving as though he's a bit wide, which he turns out to be.
7 days after winning at Moorallerton, Craig Ross has not found a good spot on 17. Not the tallest of individuals, perhaps just as well. Got down to the shot really nicely.
Great shot from there. Well done.
Wasn't that good?
That was good. I'm not sure my knees would have allowed me to get down quite that low these days, Phil.
Mansell, more woes, playing his 3rd to 16. Well, it's a par from an unusual route, but I'll tell you what, that approach shot might give him momentum going in the right direction again. Excellent.
Yeah, he needed that, and it almost popped in the hole. So we've got this 8-footer O'Neill. Try and just drop only one shot. Wow. Yep. That is frustrating.
So Mansell just moving up to the hole to tidy up. What an extraordinary day it's been. So many fluctuating fortunes in so many different areas of the leaderboard.
Yes, I think it's been one of the most adventurous last days of this season's Europro. After that very good bunker shot from a very acrobatic position, he deserved the par. But read a bit too much into the putt.
But while all of them at some point have encountered difficulties, frustrations, Dave Coupland just keeps plodding on, and I say plodding in a positive sense.
Yes, you can plod and plod. You can plod well, and sometimes you plod and it's a tremendous sort of trudge. A plod becomes a trudge. But there he is, you know, up beside the hole. Takes all the stress away when you're just tapping in from 5 or 6 inches.
It really is difficult to keep up on a day when 6 players have held the lead. The latest incumbents, Dean and Coupland, after Davidson's oh-so-expensive troubles on the 16th. How many more twists and turns are in store? The race for the title and the trophy approaches the finishing line after the break. Welcome back to Wychwood Park and the AbleRate.com Championship. 2 men locked in battle at the top of the leaderboard. Joe Dean and Dave Coupland, fighting hard for supremacy and just a shot clear of the chasing pack, which includes the leader for much of the day, Richard Mansell, who saved par well on 16. Will he finish powerfully and maybe snatch the title? Spooner and Davidson also have had a good week.
As we see James Ruth at chip and run, lovely little shot on the 18th. So, one drop and just tap that one in.
Yes, 7th at Studley Wood, tied 2nd at Montrose, tied 4th at Camberwell, and now another top 10 here. He was 48th in the order of merit last year. He will improve on that considerably in 2018.
Davidson, tee shot on 17. This one's a good straight hit to find the green. Oh. And in the air that must have looked lovely to him, but half a club long, one bounce, and now an awkward lie in the bunker.
Forgan made an eagle on 18 yesterday. Not quite today. Out of juice. Even so, Gary, it's going to be a top 10 result.
Yeah, just a couple of mistakes, a couple of birdies, and you know, it's a good result. Here we are. Another. Keep those knees bent, head steady, and that's a cracking shot really, because he had very little green to work with. Unlucky to bounce in there.
The undulating fairway here at the 16th is so difficult to hold when it's as firm and fast as this, and Coupland's got a bit unlucky with his ball just rolling out into the first cut of rough here. It's sitting down a little bit as well, and off of a downslope, he's really going to have to gouge this one out and get steeply down into the back of it to get the elevation he needs to play into this slightly elevated green. That pin position over there on the left is not to be trifled with if you're not coming in from a good lie, so he should aim right of this, keep it safe and make sure there are no mistakes here.
All of that is sound advice, Gary, but under this pressure, the execution easier said than done.
Yeah, dial it all into the old brain box, but will the muscles behave themselves when they swing the club? Mr. Coupland's muscles seem to be behaving themselves. Lovely shot.
Up on 17, Jack Davidson has a par putt, but Coupland is looking for something more on 16. That would be a real blow for the rest of them.
Yeah, it would. So, following the sandy escape. That's well done.
The first round leader after a 66, Craig Ross, trying to finish with a birdie. Well, he's bunker play on 17, and there on the closing hole, exemplary.
As we watch Mansell play this tee shot, aggressive swing through, twirl of the club. I think he likes it, and why not? Fine shot, dead on line.
The 17th cost Liam O'Neill 2 shots. This to partially ease the pain. Can't disguise the fact he's still a little hot under the collar, and the reason, that double bogey. A round of 72 could have been so much better.
Following that lovely second shot, Dave Coupland coming across the green. Yeah, a little further past than he would have wanted, but I'm sure he'll be quite happy.
Well, it's been a profitable 7 days for Craig Ross, the winner in Yorkshire at Morallerton, and now with a birdie on the 18th, it should be another top 10. Just those 3 bogeys in the first 5 holes derailed his challenge.
Coupland, 18 inches. In she goes. Another hole safely negotiated, and a difficult hole.
Davidson needs an eagle to match Joe Dean's clubhouse total of 8 under. A low stingy one, and he doesn't like it. I think he knew it was just too fiery, so has to chip that one in to maybe go into a playoff.
This one up the green, just from the right for Mansell. That was a very good line, just didn't have enough speed to hold that line.
So going to 18, he needs minimum a birdie. As I said before, this one has to disappear for Davidson.
Straight face club, probably a little 7-iron, chip it onto the edge of the green, let it wander its way down.
And down on the tee, here's John.
Well, wipe the sweat from your forehead. 15, 16, 17 are over. Come to this 18th, par 5, 569 yards. Trouble left, trouble right, lake on the right-hand side, 260 to carry, bunker in the middle, 275 to carry. Two little lonesome dove trees in the distance in the middle of the fairway. They're about 360 now. You're feeling pumped. You come off a few birdies. You're on a one-stroke lead here. You get on driver, you crank one up, wham! Those trees probably might just get to you. You never know. Depends how strong and powerful you are. But you come into a lovely second shot round the corner now. Head in for home. Head in for the home stretch. So 10 grand on the line. Get your birdie or eagle. Win it in style. Why not?
Mansell down the home straight.
Yeah, and let's see. Can he do what John said? Make that eagle. It's a lovely tee shot.
Perpetual motion almost, bounding on. John was right. 15, 16, 17 as a collective of holes, a really treacherous trio. Coupland's at the last of them. One more good swing here. Stayed down nicely. I think he likes the look of it. Oh, with every justification, straight down the pin.
Yeah, that was very, very good. Interesting position at the top of the backswing, bit narrower swing than a lot of players. Club face a bit closed, and he tends to play then using his wrists to manipulate the club face square, and he manipulated it very straight.
Overall, a fine performance from Jack Davidson, but the overriding feeling, what might have been.
Coupland has 18 feet up the hill here for birdie, and it looks pretty straight for me. But what's going to help him even more? South, his playing partner, is just outside him. A similar angle, not exactly the same, but he will learn exactly how this ball is going to react around the hole.
Up on 18, Mansell looking for his third birdie in as many days.
Interesting swing, Phil. He was obviously trying to chase one in and draw it in big style from the left, and didn't quite bring it round enough. As we watch Dave Coupland attempt this putt that Kit told us about, a little bit of bobbling, which is probably, and indeed has, I was going to say probably has taken the sting out of it, and it certainly did.
Has to get up and down from sand. Languid backswing, under the circumstances, 4 marks.
Yep, fine shot. Should tap that one in. Coupland left himself a little more than he would hope for on the 53rd hole, but safely done, and another hole out of the way.
On 18, Penge for his best result of the season. Nicely done. Tied 10th at Holliford is eclipsed. And you know, all week he didn't make a single bogey on the back nine.
Dave Coupland. Couple of deep breaths. Pick your spot. Keep your balance. Tees up quickly. Generally means that he likes it.
After that, a lusty blow. Coupland has to be regarded as the favourite.
Yeah, nice to see. Lovely balance. Players just watching on just to see Joe Dean there. See whether there is a chance of a playoff.
Well, Dean is joined on 8 under par by Richard Mansell, who birdies the 18th. What a great front nine that was. He won't be leaving just yet.
A birdie is enough for Coupland to win, and he's given himself a great chance here at the par 5 18th. Tee shot in the fairway again, and it's 229 yards to the pin. Downwind, so he can probably chase it up there with an iron. The only thing he really needs to worry about, if he does go for that pin, it's just 3 paces from a bunker on the left of the green.
A birdie in round 1, a birdie in round 2. How Dave Coupland would love to complete the hat-trick.
I think he's hit a good one. I think he's picked the club, chasing it up. Very good effort, made a sensible decision, kept calm. And see, he just thought, yeah, I'll go with that iron, get the ball flight on a fairly low trajectory, good straight hit. Difficult to beat good straight hitting, Phil.
It sure is. I think Mansell and Dean realised the game might be just about up. 2 putts for it.
Just don't want those thoughts going through your mind. Oh, please just let me get it close. But that's what he's done. Quite happy to see it just slide below the hole, knowing you're going to have a pretty much straight uphill tap in.
Resigned body language by those that Coupland is about to beat. A team effort. 2 Couplands out there today. Senior carried the clubs. Junior has just banked £10,000.
Dave, you've just won the AbleRate.com Championship. How do you feel?
Yeah, over the moon. I was trying not to look at the leaderboard then, just to make sure, but yeah, played probably the best golf I've ever played this afternoon. So I think I missed 1 green by an inch. So yeah, brilliant.
So you weren't aware coming down 18 that a birdie would be enough for the trophy?
I had it in the back of my mind. I sort of made the mistake on 16 green, glancing over at the scoreboard and saw 8 under was in, and then yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that, but yeah, I was kind of aware that maybe a birdie would tie or win, so yeah, over the moon.
Dean bolsters his promotion hopes with yet another prominent finish. Mansell came oh so close, but the AbleRate.com Championship winner is Dave Coupland, just denying Dean and Mansell by a single stroke.
A bit disappointed, but no, it was a great day. I mean, being 2 over par after the first 2 and then shooting 6 under is great. A couple of putts slipped out, but everyone can say it could be better. So no, I'm happy with how I finished.
I said at the start of the day, if I can get to double figures, I think that's going to have a really good chance. And I did. Didn't quite stay there. And to be honest, I really didn't, even though I made double and then bogey, it was like I didn't really hit bad shots. It was just got a bit unlucky with the first one and then really unlucky up against the bunker. So, and then, yeah, just happy to birdie last, give myself a chance. And I mean, congrats to Dave, so can't fault that.
It's nice to get back in the winner's circle again, and yeah, I'm really proud of my performance today.
With his 2 victories, Mark Young retains a healthy lead in the order of merit. Dean climbs from 4th to 2nd, and what progress from our latest champion. Coupland zooms from 15th to 3rd.
It was a leaderboard packed with young talent heading into the final round here at Wychwood Park. But in the end, the experience came to fruition and Dave Coupland emerged victorious. A fine birdie on the last hole for a 1-shot win said everything about his performance today, straight off the tee and in complete control of his game. Richard Mansell got it going early, and the man that has shot 58 as an amateur showed just what he's capable of. For Joe Dean as well, another fine runners-up finish. That takes him to second in the order of merit now. A fantastic week here at Wychwood Park with some very notable performances. Please join us next week when we'll be at Caversham Heath.